Hello, fellow crafters and happily hooked subscribers and potential subscribers. My name is Diane, and today we're going to learn some basics of crochet, and we're going to learn 3 of them. So I welcome you and so excited that you decided to spend this next 15 minutes with me as we go through 3 basics of crochet. The first thing we're going to learn is how to choose the right type of hook for your crochet project versus which yarns to use. So to do that, we're going to look at some different types of samples. The second thing we're going to learn is how to make a proper slip knot. And there's 3 ways that I'm going to show you. 3 ways that I'm going to show you to make the proper slip knot. The reason I'm showing you this is that your proper slip knot is going to be the basic foundation for making a magic loop. What is a magic loop, you might ask? A magic loop is what we use to crochet in the round. Magic loop makes cute little items like your hats, and you control the size of the hole on the top. If you want no hole, you will have no hole. If you want a little hole, you can have a little hole. But with the magic loop, we will be able to control that. And we're going to talk about Threads of Love, which is a group that you can fellowship with and go crochet with and make lots of fun items for newborn babies. So we're not going to learn the magic loop, but we are going to learn the foundation of the basic slip knot. So we're going to learn how to choose your yarn and crochet hook, how to make a slip knot 3 different ways, and then we're also going to learn the beauty of the back loop stitch. Now the back loop stitch is known as BL on your patterns, and by doing the back loop stitch, you're going to give your projects a little bit of a different look. So let's get started. All we need today to make our project, which is going to be this cute little bracelet, but it's really to learn those 3 basic steps, is we need our crochet hook, we need a pair of scissors, and then we need our yarn. Okay, so because we're talking about which type of crochet hook to choose, we have to know, how do we choose our yarn and our crochet hook? Okay, so I want you to notice, now this is just a red heart yarn that I picked up, and it's very, very vibrant. I also like the Karen yarn, I like the Burnett. There's all different types of yarns, and you will have your favorites. So let's look at this. On the skein of yarn, it actually tells you the size of the yarn, the size of the crochet hook you should use, and knitting needles. If I am a knitter, and if you're a knitter, that will help you, but right now let's just talk about crocheting. So on this one, it says it's a 4 size yarn, and I need to use a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook or an I9. Okay, so you're going to ask, how do I know what size my crochet hook is? Well, on your crochet hook, it actually has the corresponding letter. Like this one is a 5, and it's an H hook. It's a 5 millimeter. It's an H hook or an 8. Okay, and so this one called for a 5.5. Now, if you have a different type of crochet needle, they will have different types of notations on them. So for instance, this one is a metal, but it's also got a bamboo hook. So on this one, this is a type, it's actually an L hook, and it's 8 millimeters, and it's a size 11. So as you can see, that one is really, really big. But on your crochet hook, you will have the different sizes. And so you want to look on there to see what size the hook is. Another type of hook you're going to have is a metal hook with a rubber bottom, and on here the notation is actually on the bottom. So here's a 5.5 millimeter. So that matches with the type of yarn that I've chosen here. So that's perfect. So that's how we know which yarn to choose for which crochet hook. Okay, so get your crochet hook. If you need to pause right now, you can. You want to go get your crochet hook and your yarn. the first thing we're going to learn as we're doing this is the slip knot. The slip knot is your foundation for every single crochet project that you do. And so to do this properly, you want to grab your yarn, whatever yarn size you have. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to do this. Now I'm going to use a very large yarn so that you can see it. Okay, I'm going to slide all of this stuff back and we'll use that later. Okay, so the first thing you need to know is, what is your dominant arm? I am a right-handed crocheter. So my dominant hand is right, my non-dominant hand is my left. So as I go to make my slip knot in this version, I take my tail of the yarn. I want you to know this. Tail of the yarn is the free tail, and it's just like your pet. You've got a tail and you've got a body. And here's your body of the yarn. So I'm going to take my free tail of yarn. I'm going to stretch it across the palm of my non-dominant hand. And I'm going to make a circle. And as I make the circle, I'm going to, well, let's make a longer tail. Okay. Remember, this is my tail, and I'm coming around. I make a circle, and where my circle and my, let's just put it on the ground. Where my circle and my yarn meet, I'm going to hold that with my thumb, okay? The part of the yarn that goes to the body of my skein of yarn, I'm going to drape across my fingers. I'm going to take my appropriately sized crochet hook. I'm going to put it right through that hole, and then I'm going to turn my hook, and I'm going to pull that yarn through the loop. So there I have my slip knot, okay? And you could tighten this and make it nice and neat, okay? So that's your foundation, okay? So if you want to rewind and go through that again with me, that would be great. Our second one is going to be the cross with the hook. Again, I'm going to take my yarn with the free tail and put it in the palm of my non-dominant hand. Do we have a theme here? Yes, we do. Non-dominant hand, free tail. I'm going to secure that with my thumb. I'm going to now pull the yarn around my index finger, and then I'm going to cross it over. So now the part of the yarn that goes to the skein or the body is coming to the back. It's going towards my body. So the point of yarn coming from the body slants to your body, and you have an X, okay? Now with that X, here's your free tail. Remember, here's your free tail, and that one's going towards the body. You want to put your hook under the front part, which is the tail, right? This is attached to the tail. Under the front part, again, turn the hook, pull that yarn through the circle. Now you've got to just squeeze your hand out of there, and you can pull on the tail to secure that loop. So that's the cross with the hook version, okay? And you can, again, you can rewind that and watch it again. Now we're going to have the cross without the hook. So we're going to start the same way. Which hand is this? This is my dominant or non-dominant hand. Go ahead and leave your comments below, and I'm going to actually give away some free bracelets to people that leave comments. So I've got my non-dominant hand, and I'm going to, again, wrap the yarn around my index finger. The part that is from the body of the yarn angles towards my body. Okay, so I've got this X again. Okay, this goes to the tail. Okay, there's your tail, so you can follow that through. Okay, and then this goes to the body. All I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this piece up. This, remember, this is the part of the tail. I'm going to pull it over the back loop. Okay, I'm going to try to get my fingers out of the way there. Okay, so I'm pulling it over the back loop, and then with my other finger, I'm going to grab this loop, the one that is now in the front. I've got a little loop there, and I'm going to put my crochet hook through the loop. Okay, and now I have my slip knot. Okay, so we have 3 different ways to do your slip knot. One is just making a circle, one is doing the cross with the hook, one is doing the cross with your fingers, and then you just put your hook in there. So now you've got your first slip stitch. This is your first stitch of your project. So we're just going to chain 10 right now. 1. I'm going to yarn over, which on your project sheets or patterns is called YO. Yarn over, I'm going to pull through. Yarn over, I'm going to pull through. So go ahead and do that 10 times. And I want to show you something, and I want to tell you a few things about myself. As I showed you before, the Threads of Love is a great organization that you can call your local church, your local hospital, ask them, hey, where's the Threads of Love chapter that's closest to me? And they will meet at least once or twice a week. And you just, once or twice a month. And you will just go in and just bring your crochet hook and your happy self. And they have patterns there, they have yarns there, they have people. And it's all, fellowship. We love to fellowship with other crafters and crocheters. And that's the best thing of all. And so you can actually learn your craft a little better. And you can fellowship at the same time. Okay, so as we're going to start now into learning about the back loop stitch, which is known on your pattern as BL. I want to show you something. Okay, besides the colors, I want you to tell me what is different about these projects. I've got 2 here. Now these 2 are basically the same. One has been ironed and one hasn't. I've got one here and I've got another here. Okay, so of these, and well, let's just take this one out because that's ironed. That's not fair. On these, can you see a difference? Do you see this ridge right here? Okay, the ridge is what occurs when you do a back loop stitch. Now this also has ridges, but that was a front loop stitch. So handy to know. And then when we do our regular post stitch, your project is actually flat. So how in the world do we do a back loop stitch? And why would we want to do a back loop stitch? Well, I'm going to show you again this project. You can see the ridge here. So this is something that I make with my granddaughters and actually neighbors, friends and children of friends, and just even adults who are just learning how to stitch. It's a cute little bracelet, and I like that look of the ridged look on there. It adds some texture to the overall project. So to do that, you need to actually stitch into the loop that is on the back of your project. So I'm just going to do a corner here, and this is also another fun video that we will have on how to keep your edges very straight on your corners, but I'm not going to show you that today, but I will show you that in another video, a subsequent video. And on this one, we are going to look for the back loop. So you see here that we have our chain, and we have bottom, top, and then we can go right into the middle post here, right? So that would be your post stitch. So I'm just going to go to the back side, which is the side away from me, and I'm going to do my stitch into the back. I'm going to do a single crochet. I'll do that again, and we'll do it step by step. So I find my back stitch, I go into it, then I'm going to do a YO, which is yarn over. I know I chose the big yarn to do this, but it may be easier with a smaller one. And I must tell you, the first chain of this is always the most difficult because our foundation chain tends to be a little bit more tight. Now my yarn is here. I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and then pull through again. Now this is your basic single crochet stitch. So you're going to do that all the way down the chain, and when you are finished, what it's going to look like is this first row. Okay, and we'll do it together because I also want to tell you about other things that I do. Besides being an avid crocheter, because I have crocheted and knitted with my I started with my grandmother when I was about 5 or 6. She was from Italy, and so she would watch the soap operas, which I think helped her to learn English. And we would knit and crochet together. So that was awesome. And I think that just led me into a whole life of a lot of creativity, because I'm also a book author. I've had two books published, and I've recently had an article published in Chicken Soup for the Soul. So that is, one of my other loves is writing. And I write Christian fiction romance. And this is one that was also just published in the January edition of Chicken Soup for the Soul. So these are fun things to do that keep the creativity going, but I find that my crocheting and knitting, that when I'm having a writer's block, I find that the crocheting and knitting is really, really very relaxing. The other thing is, you need to have patience with yourself. Don't push it like, oh gosh, now I missed this and I have to tear it all out. That's okay to tear it all out, or just pick up another. Sometimes I'll just pick up a new color and go, okay, I'm going to do it on this one because I didn't really like that yarn for that project. And you can do that too. And I love using crafting with children and adults alike, because I find that it really helps them to hyper focus, especially children that are hyperactive and they're jumping from topic to topic. If you go ahead and craft with them, whether it be yarn craft, paper craft, they really hyper focus, and it seems to calm them down quite a bit. Okay, so I want to show you that we've done the ridge. The ridge that is forming, and the ridge is facing you. Now, if you were doing the front loop, the ridge would actually be on the other side of you, okay? So here's our ridge that's starting to form. And now you can see with the second one, it's a lot easier to see where our back loop is, right? So when I do turn my work, and again, I'm giving you a little glitch, a little sneak preview of my perfect corners or perfect edges, so that they're always straight. When I do come to do the next one, I feel like that second row is so much easier to see that back loop. So again, that's your back loop. Now, what's fun about crafting too, I also do paper crafting. And I do nails. I'm actually a licensed cosmetologist as well. My first life was writing, public relations, reporting, and then I went to cosmetology school because I now have daughters and I didn't know how to do their hair. And so if we ever want to do a little information on making dip nails or acrylic nails or just shellac, we can do that. I wanted to show you, so some of my paper crafts, I love how these work together. So I take my bracelets and I can just put them into this cute little self-closing box that I made. I'm going to zoom back out of there. And I have a gift already. And if I want to, I can add a card, because that's another thing that I do is card making. So, there's all different things we can do with our creativity, and it's so much fun when they work together. We can do the boxes. I have like Christmas boxes that we make. So it's a lot of fun, and I invite you to join me as we do all different types of crafts. Again, this is the bracelet. I'm going to show you a finished one and how I finished it up. And again, I'm going to show you the different stitches. So this was when we did the post stitch right into the post. Okay, we didn't do that one today. We did the back loop stitch, which leaves that beautiful ridge to make a bracelet. And then this is if we would have done the front loop stitch. Okay, so 3 things that we learned today. One was how to match your yarn with your hook, proper yarn with your hook, how to find the number of your hook on your actual crochet hook. We also learned 3 ways to do a slip knot. 3 ways to do a slip knot that leads to making the magic circle. And then finally, we learned how to stitch into the back loop. So thank you so much for spending these past 20 minutes with me, and I look forward to you joining me for some more videos. We'll make some more bracelets and things, and work up to some scarves. And I wish you happy hooking, and see you soon.